General, I am no expert on war. I defer to you, but it seems to me extremely dangerous for a White House official to announce publicly that when it comes to helping Ukraine fight Russia, the US cannot do anything and everything forever to help. I would have thought that's only going to make the Russian president think, well, I knew it. If we keep attacking Ukraine long enough, the Americans, they're going to get bored. They're going to get fed up. They're going to go home. So we'll keep fighting. Your view?
Oh, yeah. That is an awful statement at the worst possible time. And you're absolutely right. We're coming up on the anniversary of the war. And the Biden administration can take some credit for providing a significant amount of capability to Ukraine, albeit some of it much too slow in terms of it being as decisive as it could have been. But here we are on the cusp of the Ukrainians themselves conducting a major counteroffensive in several weeks. And now we're undercutting that by making a statement that, well, we may not be able to provide them everything they really need. And that is not the statement that have been coming out of the Defense Department just recently by the Secretary of Defense. It's not a statement that's coming out of Jan Stoltenberg, who is the head of NATO, who has been all in supporting Ukraine. He is pushing for every piece of equipment Ukrainians need so they can take back all of their territory. Yes, that is an outrageous statement made at exactly the wrong time.
Well, can you explain it to me? I mean, it was only days ago that you had President Biden giving the State of the Union speech saying, you know, we're with you for as long as it takes. And here you get a very deliberate statement by an unnamed White House official saying, well, there might be limits on that. How can you explain those mixed messages?
Yeah, well, there's certainly inconsistency there, and it confuses the American people, and for certain, it frustrates the Ukrainians. But I'm sure they made a quick phone call to their appropriate counterparts to make certain that there has been no change in the Biden administration's policy, and that the tanks are still coming, and the air defense systems that they need are still coming, the long-range missiles are still coming, and as they should be, and I'm confident they are.
Now, the US top general, Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley, said on Tuesday that Russia had already lost this war. Now, that struck me as a little bit premature. I mean, I do think it's got a losing hand right now, but the war's a long way from concluded. But then I was wondering, in the light of what a White House official just said, could even Mark Milley be softening up Americans for an announcement, well, you know, job done, the US can now wind back its support? How do you interpret his statement?
Well, the Biden administration from the outset, because Putin was not able to accomplish his objectives to topple the government in Kyiv immediately, they've always said that this has been a strategic defeat for Russia. He is all in on attempting to accomplish his objectives inside of Ukraine. That's initially to take the Donbass region and eventually take the capital. He's not giving up on any of it. He's mobilized 300,000 troops. He believes that he can outlast the Ukrainians, that he has more people and he's going to have more support. And he eventually believes that the Europeans and the Americans will lose the political support they need to keep providing equipment. That's what he's counting on. But I do believe this, that the Ukrainians have a huge opportunity here in the months upcoming to retake significant amount of territory. The Russians, real quick like, despite the mobilization of the forces and despite the increase in those numbers, they have taken significant casualties in the Donbass region. And when we look at the Institute of Study of War, while they have begun their offensive, and they've begun it very gradually, the casualties are mounting already. And the last time they did an offensive in the eastern part of the Donbass region, it culminated. It's a military term, meant that they could no longer generate any momentum to go forward. That is what we likely see happening to the Russian forces here once again, which enters the Ukrainians' opportunity to conduct an offensive, get the Russians back on their heels, and take more territory.
General Keane, just before you go, the American Air Force has shot down now 4 objects. One, a Chinese spy balloon. Three, they're not saying what it is, what they are, much smaller objects. What is going on here?
That's a great question, a question that we have been asking the administration now for 2 weeks. I mean, the reality is a Chinese balloon entered American airspace and put itself over an ICBM field in Montana and stayed there for a couple of days, taking information from nuclear sites. We should have shot that balloon down before it entered American airspace. We were tracking it for a week before it reached American airspace. The fact that we permitted that is a national embarrassment. We have since shot down 3 other balloons at lower altitudes, much smaller. We have not recovered the debris. We likely think they may indeed belong to corporations or be benign and not belong to a country. Don't know that for sure, but that's what it looks like. So the first balloon that we shot down was a huge underreaction by the United States. The second, third, and fourth balloons appear to be an overreaction, somewhat related to the criticism that the administration received that was quite significant for not shooting the Chinese spy balloon initially. So that's where we stand. Yes, big question in the United States is what is going on, and our president and secretary of defense have yet to speak to the American people about what has happened.
In fact, they're now trying to reassure Americans, well, at least they're not extraterrestrial. So I guess there's there's a tick for the administration. I mean, seriously, honestly, what a farce this has become. General Keane, thank you so much indeed for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, take care, Andrew. Thank you very much.